All right, beautiful people, what's going on? Good morning. Happy Thursday. How is everybody doing today? Hope we are doing well. Some quick trade setups I'm looking at. So I'm bearish on 30. On US 30, I think we're gonna come down. Just the way this market is moving. I'm looking here at the 1 hour. And this channel is starting to break right around here. I don't think this is a valid. Yeah, I'll be like somewhere over here. All right. Even though we had some pretty good news when it came to when we look at Forex Factory and we look at PPI reports coming in. Let me take a look here real quick. Yeah, so PPI was actually lower than expected and forecasted. Unemployment claims was higher than forecasted. So the market's kind of 50-50 on that one. Take a look at yesterday. Yesterday we had CPI. All right. So inflation is showing lower than forecasted, but higher than previous. So it's in the middle for year over year. Month over month, it is down. And core CPI, which excludes energy and food, it is down drastically. So that should be green light for the market. But however, the fight in the back and forth is coming from the fact that the Federal Reserve does not want to lower interest rates yet. And that's kind of like where it's going back and forth between the president and Federal Reserve and all that stuff. However, in case you guys don't know, I believe Jerome Powell's term is up next year. Um, and you guys know how that works, right? The Federal Reserve are self-appointed. They vote within, they're not appointed by the president or anybody like that. So the president might take some like emergency action to have that stopped, and then he gets to appoint somebody to the Federal Reserve. But that we still have a year, maybe a little bit less before that actually kicks in. So let's see how that plays. But either way, I'm looking at I'm looking at 30 coming down. I want it to come down. Um, let's see if I was to draw an area. Yeah, this is not a higher high being created. It'll come down. It'll swing possibly 42. Keep it modest, maybe 42, 300. Let me actually, I didn't set the parameters up. I want you guys to take a look at it. So 42, 300. All right. And stop loss. Mm, let's keep it right up here at 42, 800. 42, 800. It's a little tight, but we'll see. I usually give more my trades more room to breathe. I'm doing it because I don't want you guys to over risk. So what I want you guys to do is keep your stop loss 48, 42, 800 or lower. I'm not comfortable with my stop loss that close. I like to give my trades room to breathe. So I will actually do 42, 900. All right, and it all depends on what your account is, what you can afford to lose, all that stuff. So just to keep that in mind, family. Let me change the color of this line. I don't like this blue. Let's make it white. There we go. Sticks out more on the black. All right. So yeah, market kind of swung up. We hit the highs again. And I think we're gonna start seeing a reversal. Now for this, I gotta see bigger time frame, maybe like 1 day. And yeah, so we're back to that very strong key level we were at a couple weeks back. And then I think we're going to retrace this down. We're seeing the break right there. You see it? We're seeing the break right there. And if this is to happen and this break does come, then I can expect actual trade price to come down to 200. 41,200 is a very possible number. Um, Especially with a couple of things we got to look at, right? So you guys know the Boeing stock took a hit today. There was a big airplane. There was a big crash. I think it was yesterday or this morning, earlier this morning. Air India, a complete, fully commercial plane with 272 people or 242 people crashed, and everybody presumed dead. A couple hours ago. So Boeing stock just collapsed, right? It was like 10% down. Um, as a matter of fact, let me take a look at it here. Getting scary to fly, people. It's getting really scary to fly. Um, let's look at the Dow Jones Market Watch, see what we can find. All right, so gold, Boeing stock declined sharply after plane crashes in India. Okay, yeah, that was today. Gold is no longer for lunatics, as the bond king says, wait to buy the 30-year. Okay. So Boeing, of course, Boeing's got to be down here, 4% so far. Okay. A lot of stocks in the red. A lot of stocks in the red. Tesla stocks drop for reason robo taxi launches a worry. I want to see, yeah, that robo taxi thing is going to be a little while. I want to see how that's going to really pull off. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? That full self-driving robo taxi is supposed to be launched that literally has like no steering wheel on it. Yeah, that's like my Tesla drives by itself is cool, but I feel good because at any point I can just take over if I need to. You can't really do that in this car, That's a little worrisome. All right, let's look at Bitcoin. I'm seeing Bitcoin coming down as well. Easy double pattern over here. You guys know market structure. Boom, 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 boom. All right, I expected to come down. I didn't put 100,000, even though we were just here, family. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We were here literally a week ago, a couple days ago. All right, we had a meltdown all the way to 100,000. It's a possibility we come back down here. We're not really breaking this barrier of 110, 111. And this is a clear, beautiful on the daily indication of a bearish movement taking over. And to be honest, I am one to be excited. So this trade is going to be what we call a swing trade. And I'm going to drop this bad boy because I got two positions open. I'm going to put this one at 100 actually, I'm going to do it at this key level first. Let's do 104,000 on this one. 104. All right, I'm going to do 104 on this one. And stop loss, I'm going to put it back at 110. All right, is that a 141? No, it's not. That's too high. Let's do 109. There we go. That looks a little bit better. 109, take profit 104. It's the first one. All right. So lock that one in. Now my second one is a little bigger position, but I'm going to put this one at 100,000. All right. And my stop loss on this one, since I could do that, I'll put 110. All right. 110. All right. This is going to be a swing, a swing position. So last a little bit longer. It could turn into an entire longer than that. All right. So we'll see. With 30, 30 is already done. Save that. Good. Let me look at it on the 15. Yeah, on the 1 hour looks good. I'm not worried about it on the 1 hour. The 15 might get you a little, yeah, hesitant up and forth, but this is gonna definitely come down. It has to break down. However, if you guys want, we can look at some quick scalps on the 5 minute and see what we can enter. Oh, that looks like a good sell. I'll take that one. It does look like a good sell. And that one is gonna be this one right here. I want to move this take profit to just right there, something really quick. And I'll watch for the stop loss. You guys have any questions so far? Hey, you know what was really good news today that I saw? I really like it too. So you remember, if you guys been, with me for a while now, you know that this is way before like 2020. If you've been with me for like years, 2020, 2021, um I had announced we spoke about when Dodge, the car manufacturer Dodge, killed the Hemi, right? Their plan was to eliminate the Hemi, right? The last Hellcats was coming out, the last Cat Packs. Remember, and I bought each one just so I can hold the value. Um, and then you guys see they're making a comeback. They're coming back. They're bringing back the Hemi again. They're bringing back the Hellcat, the Scat Pack. They're gonna bring them all back. Now that, they don't have to go by this old Joe Biden law of all cars electric by 20 whatever, right? Trump said you can get whatever car you want, doesn't matter. You can make gas, you can make electric, does not matter. So that's a good deal. So I want to see how that's gonna really play out. That should be really good. But yeah, they're bringing those back. SpaceX too. SpaceX is. Let me take a look here real quick. Any stocks you guys are in? We went over some stocks to invest in just long term. Listen, to me, I always say this, people, to me, Tesla is a long, long buy. That's a long buy every day of the week, family. Every day of the week. All right. People right now want to get all emotional and, burn Teslas, vandalize them, go against Elon. But, remember, you have to remember something, right? This is what I always say. Every time you look at these patterns, these charts, these way the markets move, it's all emotional movements, right? We're looking at emotional movements in action. We're seeing people's emotions go from hope to pessimists to possibilities to all that stuff, right? So if we look at the pattern of everything human history, right, whether it's a school shooting or a plane crashing or whatever, right? What's one thing that humans always do, right? They always forget about it. They move on. They make it a big deal now, and then they just forget all these protests happening right now. Give it another week, 2 weeks, and it'll just like it never happened. It'll disappear, right? They're life trends. So when all this happens and people, get their emotions out of their ass and start to act accordingly, um, Tesla will start to jump up again. All these companies start to jump up again. Understand we're trying to clean up a country that was in dire need of a cleanse, right? It's like, when you eat a lot of crap, you go on vacation, you just eat nothing but garbage and you feel like sluggish and you feel like crap and you feel like you feel it, you know what I mean? You feel it. And then maybe you guys do like a detox, you do a liver cleanse, you go on a juice cleanse for like 2 days, 3 days, you do water fast for a week, and you feel like you feel like a god, right? That's what it needs. That's what it needs. Let's see, I got a question here. Hey Jeff, does the dollar have impact on US 30? If yes, a strong dollar is to buy. No, it does not. It does not impact US 30 at all. The dollar is more of a because the dollar correlates directly with interest rates, right? And the strength of the US dollar, not the economy. And then of course the stock market US 30 will indicate the strength of the market's investments, companies, right? Whether it's dollar doing well, dollar doing bad, doesn't really matter. So that's why when we trade, when we see news that are directly affecting the dollar, so when we see things like um non-farm, right? That could be one. Non-farm. When we see things like you know, CPI is the only one that affects both. right? Because if we, not CPI, but when the Federal Reserve starts to mess around with interest rates, right? Even though interest rates may drop for the dollar, the only way, the only way it affects companies is if those companies will now spend more money to conduct business, right? So that's pretty much all it is. Remember, the interest rate we talk about when we talk about the Federal Reserve changing interest rates for the markets, right? So if the interest rates for the dollar go when we had inflation at 9% and we spiked interest rates all the way up to what 5.5 or so, that means that now the banks is going to cost the banks more money to conduct business, to loan out money, to borrow money. So what they do is they take that money and they put it into bonds because the interest rates are high. They rather take the cash on hand, put it into a bond. The bond is a cash investment, and they just let the money ride in the bonds, which is why banks back then, when interest rates were at 5.5%, um, I'll give you guys an example. One of my local banks that I bank with, I put a large sum of money in that account, and the first thing they did, maybe like within, I want to say within like 2, 3 hours, I get a call from the banker, right? He says, "Hey, we noticed you put this money. We have a great idea for you. You just have it sitting here." And I said, "Yeah, but I don't leave it there. I'm gonna invest it." He goes, "Okay, well, have you seen the interest rates?" I'm like, "Yeah, I that's what I do." And he said, "If you move it to a money market account, right, which is an investment account, it's not tied in. You can pull it out whenever, and you just convert the savings to the money market one." They were paying me 6% interest. That's crazy to hear a bank pay 6% interest. And then they say, we'll pay 6% interest on your money, yada yada. And then just remember the market can change and all that stuff. So it's subject to change. But right now we're at 6%. I think the account right now is paying me 4.25, which is whatever, it's cool. I don't keep a lot of money in there anyway. That's just in there to move, and then I invest it somewhere else. But we saw that happening, right? Bonds are high, interest rates are high. So if they start to drop interest rates, which is what we need for the economy, we need the interest rates to come down, then things start to become more affordable. Businesses can lower their prices because now it costs them less money to conduct business because of interest rates, right? And we have to remember how businesses work and wealthy people work, right? This is the beautiful thing about um learning from the wealthy is like you never see if somebody's worth 100 billion, right? Like Elon or whatever. If they go buy something or invest in something, they don't use their own cash, right? And most of those billionaires and millionaires are not liquid. They're tied into assets, which means they will have to liquidate their assets, sell their asset, pull out that cash, and then take that cash and reinvest it or buy whatever they want. No, why give up an asset that's flowing in value, right? And this is the part that I also don't understand how people don't make sense of this, right? Everyone, the one thing that everyone knows to do is buy a house. Okay. They buy a house, which is a depreciating asset right off the gate. Okay. Even though it does increase in value over time, okay, you're still paying way more over the 30-year loan term when you account interest rates. If matter of fact, you could look at a house that's 6.5, 6% interest rate. If the house is worth 350 and you do the whole 30-year term, was it 360 months or whatever, and you take that times the payment you're making, you'll get a math of double the price of the house. It makes no sense, right? But you turn it into an asset, people will buy a house and then they force appreciate the house, they add units to make the house worth more. And then once the house is worth more, what do? They go and they pull out a loan against the house. They pull out equity from the home or get a loan against the equity. And now they have cash on hand while not having to sell the house because the house is the asset, right? That they can use this their collateral. Same thing. Same thing. And people just don't seem to understand that. They only understand it in a term that they know, real estate. All right, what's our 10 o'clock hour looking like? We're coming to 10 o'clock as I call stupid o'clock. At 10 o'clock, these markets go wild. All we have left is natural gas storage and 30-year bonds. With the 10-year bonds yesterday. As a matter of fact, let me see how that affected the market. So in case you guys don't know and you're new, 10-year bonds correlate directly with mortgage interest rates. Okay, so 10-year bond is up for today compared to, yes, okay. And if we look at our mortgage rates, ow, jeez, my neck is killing me. Um, is it this one? No, this one, my bad, mortgage. All right, we're kind of still stagnant, not much change, but we're still on averaging about 6.85% on mortgage rates. That's for a 30-year loan on average. 30-year loan. This is a very crucial point here, family. Understand that. Once the Federal Reserve decides to drop interest rates, this market structure will simply go from downtrend to break to retest, meaning bringing the market back down, the interest rates back down. Home prices have kind of been stable. They've been kind of dropping, correlating with the market structure and all that stuff. Oh man, guys, any questions? I hope you guys are paying attention. I appreciate you guys all being here. What are my thoughts on gold? Gold, listen, you know what I've been doing? I've been buying gold, but not like the trade. I've been actually buying the tangible asset. And gold, remember, gold correlates, it moves in relation to the dollar, right? So in reality, dollar down, right? Gold up. Just the way it works. And gold is always a safe haven. Gold is always a safe haven. It's just so tricky. And I get it. I get it. Gold is going up. I get it. It's skyrocketed within the last few months. Um, but I'm a risk taker, but to me, to trade an asset when it's already trending at an all-time high is very hard. It's very hard to do, right? And the reason why I say that is because everyone here needs every trader, right? You guys are traders, drop a seven. If you're a trader, you need to know what kind of trader you are. And I don't mean by whether you do this strategy or that. I mean whether you're a short trader or a long trader, right? For example, me, I understand that I am more of a short trader. I trade and I make money off bad news. Why? Because 10 times out of 10, bad news will surpass good news, right? There's always more bad news than good news. And even though there's probably way more good news than bad news, more bad news that bad news get more attention than the good ones, right? So they'll use fear monger. They'll use all this stuff to promote and put fear. That's fucking the way the news have been forever. And when that happens, it creates catastrophe in the market. It creates people's fear. And when they have fear, what is the first thing they run into? They run into either buying water, pulling out cash, or buying toilet paper. And they pull out cash. When they pull out cash, markets come down. When markets come down, I short the market. I make money. Right? That's the way it works. Right? People are more tendent to leave a bad review than a good review. Always happens, right? You can have the best time at the best resort and you leave and you're so happy, so great, but you don't really think about, I'm gonna go to Google and leave an awesome review. No. But if you have a shit experience, you got bed bugs, you find columns in your drawer, and people are awful, the first thing you do is be like, I'm gonna make sure people don't come to this resort. And you go to Google and you write, and you start becoming a keyboard hero. That's just the way that people work, man. And that's why I'm so good at reading this, right? I'm not good at reading charts. I'm good at reading people and emotions and trends. And because of that, it makes me a trader than I am. So 90% of my trades are short trades. I mean, look at us right now. I'll give you an example. I'm four trades in, 12K down, all negative, but I know for a fact it's gonna come down. So all I gotta do is sit here and wait. And you guys seen it multiple times. I could be in the red and then, give me 2 hours and I'll send a screenshot. Boom. Hey, guess what? Green. We're back in where we were going. Right? So we kind of just gotta wait for that emotion to kick in. But that's just the kind of trader that I am. Looking at, you know what's gonna happen? Look, we're gonna probably gonna get one of these over here, right? So I'm gonna have to enter another position So I'm gonna wait for this candle to, there's a 5. Let's do the 15. We're almost, oh, we're at 10 already. All right. I might sell it from here. Maybe the entry was bad. I admit that. Sometimes I'm not good at entries, but I'm good at being patient. I might take, so I'm in 5. Let's go on 1 and make up for that one. And then I'm gonna push up a little bit more. We got 2 minutes left and just re-enter from there. We might get an M pattern right there. Right, the fast move. What's the fake move? The retest happens here. Liquidity grabs and then bye bye. But I hope that makes sense, family. It's just understanding what kind of trader you are. So again, back to your question, what do I think about gold? Gold is a great investment. But isn't gold? Gold is a great asset, right? I treat gold like I treat Bitcoin. I don't trade a lot of Bitcoin. I trade it here and there, but I mostly accumulate, right? Because the power is in the quantity of accumulation, and the trade is just extra, right? You could trade Bitcoin on the way down to 100,000 and take that capital and buy it at 100,000 and you accumulate it. That's the beauty of it. I'll scalp if I get bored and want to look at the charts for a couple of hours. Yeah. Yeah, scalping is a beautiful thing. Me personally, so I did last month, we did the scalping every day. And first of all, not a lot of people trade, not a lot of people enjoy it. They don't really get to trade, so maybe we'll do that another time. But for me, there's specific scalping is a specific occasion scenario, right? Like for example, we just had CPI yesterday. All right. I believe on the 18th, if I'm not mistaken, let's see. Oh, sorry, 1 day off. Oh no, wait, I'm right. That's retail sales. Oh, look at that. I am right. I know my shit. The 18th of June is the federal funds rate meeting. That to me indicates scalp o'clock, scalp haven. And if it wasn't for me hosting a class, I would literally go in at 1:55 p.m. All right. If it wasn't for me teaching anything, if I was just me as a trader not wanting to share this with nobody, at 1:55, I'm logged into my charts. I'm scalping, small scalping from 2 to 2:30. At 2:30, I'll go heavy and I'll trade from 2:30 to 2:45, 2:48 when he starts taking questions. And then after that, I'll watch for the answers he gives, and I'll do some more scalping. And I could be done training for the entire month in just that one session. Because that right there is scalper heaven. Whenever they do the federal funds rate, they release the interest rate whether they're staying stagnant, up or down. And then when Jerome Powell comes out at 2:30 and says why they did what they did, that's beautiful. You see the markets go wild. And all you gotta do, fam, all you gotta do during a scenario like that is go on 30, right? You go on US 30 and you just catch him say something stupid and you go from here and sell it here at a high position and you're done. You close the trade on you go bye-bye. See you later. And guess what happens? This drops and you know what else moves a lot? This right here. You know what else moves a lot? This right here. So that's all you need. You don't gotta do both. You can do one. You can literally do one. All right, beautiful people. I must let you go. Trades, just I'm gonna hold these. No fear. Let them rock. Matter of fact, I might just gonna put this up here because I want to make sure this one's secured. And the TP will be same one right there. All right. Does anybody else have any questions for me? Any questions, beautiful people? Let's see. Oh, Binance, yeah. So Binance US just opened up again and for US customers. I gotta check it out. Um, I mean, I used it one time to be honest. And as a matter of fact, when I started using it was around the time that they closed. So we'll see what happens. One very interesting news that I found out about yesterday, crypto.com. Crypto.com, if you still use them, right? Not only do they have the debit card, but now they're offering a credit card, family. A credit card, Visa signature credit card. And you can earn up to 6.5% in crypto on all card purchases, limited to tiers. So, family, that to me is great. Might apply today, actually. All right. Be good. Let's see. I got the email a couple days ago. Beautiful. Let's go. Beautiful. All right, family. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you guys all next week. Next week we'll probably do a Tuesday class.